Good evening, yogis. My name is Daniel. This is Daniel Lee Yoga. Thank you for joining me for practice today. I have Coney with me here today. It's Monday, the 13th, I believe. Thank you all so much for joining me. We have a fundamentals focused Vinyasa class today. And this week we'll be working on opening up our chest and our shoulders in our classes today. And today we have a 60-minute class, and I'm going to begin class with just a little bit of breathing technique, a little pranayama. So that's going to be about the first 5 minutes of class, and the remaining will be our asana, more of our movement focus class. Now, in our fundamental class, we take our time breaking down different poses and maybe evaluating different key concepts and component actions required to maybe advance your practice or deepen your practice, or maybe to help you look inside a little bit more clearly. So, as far as for today, prop wise, if you have a couple blocks, you can keep them handy. They're not super necessary, but they're always good to have nearby, especially if you do. If you don't have blocks and you have boxes or books around the same size, you can keep those nearby. If you do have them, just place them up at the top of your mat for now. And yeah, Marlena, thank you for joining. I appreciate you checking in. Yeah, I don't think I have any real announcements for today other than hope you all had a great weekend and has your week been started all right so far. Maybe you're here to get a little workout in, learn something new, try to look inside a little bit more, maybe deepen yourself in many different ways. So I just want to thank you all again for joining me. And we're going to get right into practice and we'll start seated. So in this breath work that we'll start with, make sure you're in a nice comfortable seat. So I prefer crossing my legs. Sometimes I'll sit up either on a block or a blanket. Wherever you are sitting, if you ever have trouble keeping up straight, if you feel like you're falling back, you can always sit up on your blocks. You can sit up on a towel or a blanket. If you don't have any of that, you can roll up your mat just to give you a little bit of elevation. That can help keep your spine rooted and keep it nice and long and upright. We'll be here for a couple minutes. So make sure you choose your nice, comfortable seat. You can place your arms wherever you'd like. And I'll just demonstrate how we'll do this pranayama practice. This is called, I guess, square breathing. Sometimes it's referred to as a version of samavriti. And what happens is we inhale and we exhale for the same count. But in addition to that, we hold our inhale and we hold our exhale for the exact same count as well. So a lot of times when we breathe, we inhale and we exhale, we go right from one to the other. But this time we'll have the opportunity to equalize all four parts of that. So you can imagine it kind of as a square as you go forward in your breathing. So I'll count through it with you. Feel free to follow along. If you'd like to advance it and hold for a little bit longer, increase your count, feel free to do that. But I'll increase it a little bit as we go. So feel free to follow along and adjust whatever pace works for you. So it takes a little bit to get into it, but give it a chance and see how you feel. So get nice and comfy. Rest your hands either wherever you'd like. They can stay at your chest as well. Your eyes can stay closed, your gaze can soften, or your eyes can stay open. Just take a nice deep inhale to start and exhale. Now inhale through the nose, 2, 1, and hold, 2, 1. Exhale through the nose, 2, 1, and hold, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1, and hold, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And relax. You can return to normal breathing here. Take a couple nice, long, deep breaths. If your eyes were closed, go ahead and start to blink your eyes back open. Settle back into your body. And come to a cross-legged seat if you're not already. If you were already in a cross-legged seat, go ahead and switch which leg is in front. Let's just even out both sides here. So again, this week we're going to open up our shoulders and our chest. We'll still have a full body workout, but that's just going to be the focus today. So let's begin by warming up the arms a little bit. Release the arms down to the sides, palms face down. Then turn the palms up. Keep the arms straight and raise the arms overhead, palms face each other. Turn the palms out and then release the arms down to the ground. Let's keep going. So palms up. Inhale as you raise the arms up overhead. Exhale, turn the palms out, release down to the sides. Keep going. Inhale, palms out and up. Face each other overhead. Exhale, release the arms down to the side. So keep going on your breath. So we're inhaling as we raise over top. Exhale as we gently release. And as you continue, realize when your arms are overhead, where are your shoulders? Just notice where they are. Do they follow your arms? Do they raise up as your arms raise up? Maybe see if you can soften the shoulders away from the ears. Keep them lowered as you raise the arms up. Let's do this 2 more times. On your breath, just take your time here. On your last one, release your arms down to the sides. Adding a little twist, let's inhale the arms back up overhead. Exhale, twist from the navel up, turn to your right, and release both arms down to the sides, like Coney. We'll stay here for just a breath or 2, gently pressing that left hand on that left thigh. Still a nice long spine. Now inhale as you bring your arms back up to center overhead. And exhale, turn to your left this time. From the navel up, release both arms to the outside of the left thigh. So you're gently pressing that right palm into that left thigh. Inhale back up to center. One more time each side. Exhale as you twist to your right, release both arms to the outside of the right thigh. Staying here for a breath. And let's inhale the arms back up overhead. And exhale, release to the left side this time. Nice long spine, twisting from that navel up. Let's bring the arms back up overhead. And this time stay in the center. Release your arms down to the center of your chest and down to the sides. So what's crucial in a lot of our chest openers, and especially when we're adding our arms to our poses, is understanding the difference between internal and external rotation at the shoulder socket. So we're going to practice a little bit of that, and then we'll reinforce it in a couple of the poses that we get into. So begin by extending both arms out to the sides, palms face down. So this is kind of our neutral starting position. So in order to internally rotate, you're going to move the entire arms. So the thumbs are going to come down, the palms start to face back, and then the pinkies are up towards the sky. So this is our internal rotation of that shoulder. Now release back to neutral position. Let's go the opposite way. So the thumbs come up, pinkies face down, maybe the palms even turn up to face up towards the ceiling. This is our external rotation. Let's release back down to neutral, palms down. Internally rotate one more time, thumbs down, pinkies up. Gently release back down to neutral, and then externally rotate, pinkies down, thumbs up, maybe the palms start to point up. So we're really rotating from that shoulder. And releasing back down to neutral, and release the arms down to the sides. Okay, arms are a little bit warmed out. Let's just warm up the legs a little bit. So we'll come into bear sit, extending both legs straight out. So you're still on your seat here. If you are sitting up on something, I'd suggest go ahead and put it off to the side. You'll be able to use your arms in this pose to keep you upright. So knees bent, feet are flexed, which means the toes come back toward your face. We're going to move the legs all as one piece. So release the hands behind you. Fingers can face away or they can face forward, whatever works for you. Make sure the heels are slightly wider than shoulder width distance. So we'll work on internal and external rotation of our hip sockets just to wake them up. So we internally rotate by drawing the knees together. If by internally rotating your knees touch, just separate your heels out a little bit wider. And then externally rotate, separate the knees as far as you can. Internally rotate, knees towards each other. Externally rotate out to the side. A couple more times. Internally rotate and externally rotate. Let's do 2 more times each way. Internal. Keep the feet flexed the entire time. One more time. Internally rotate and then externally rotate. And just bring them back up to center. Press yourself back up. And we'll come into now a tabletop position. So if you like to get into tabletop by crossing your legs and coming forward, or if you just want to shoot your legs off to the side, we'll meet in our tabletop. So in your tabletop, your wrists are below your shoulders, knees and the tops of the feet are to the mat, fingers are nice and spread, and make sure your wrist creases are lined up with the short edge of the mat. So I'll just show you that. So if we have this short edge of our mat, and I have my wrist crease here, this is lined up. This is slightly open, which is great, but we want to avoid turning it in that way. That puts a little bit of undue stress on your elbow. So make sure your wrist creases are lined up with that short edge or slightly turned out. Now hug that navel in and up. Slight tuck of the chin, gazes up towards the top of your mat to keep that spine nice and long. Make sure the tops of the feet are to the mat. Take a nice deep inhale here and exhale. Let's add our cow cats, waking up the spine. So we inhale as we drop our navel down, tailbone lifts, heart comes forward, look up, cow pose. Reversing that exhale, round the back, shoulders separate, head hangs heavy, cat pose. Inhaling, dropping the navel, tailbone lifts, heart forward, look up, cow. Exhale, rounding the back, shoulders separate, head hangs heavy. Just keep going on your breath, moving through your cow cats. Nice and slow. Use this as an opportunity to connect your breath to your movement here. Nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And just meet me back in neutral position once you finish your last one. Gently hugging that navel in and up. Now we'll come back to the shoulders here. So we were staying in our tabletop. What I want you to do is keep an eye on your elbows here. This crease in your elbow. Notice just how naturally where it is. Is it facing forward? Is it facing in? Is it facing back? Let's try and move that. So just like how we did the internal and external rotation of our shoulders, we move the entire arm as one. So we're going to do that same thing, but our palms are going to stay rooted. So try to move so that your elbow creases now face forward. So mine are facing forward. I have to engage my triceps and I'm rotating, externally rotating at the shoulder socket so the elbows face forward. Now try to internally rotate. So now the elbow creases come to face each other. Maybe they face back. So we're externally rotating now. Elbow creases face forward. And then internally rotate, elbow creases face each other or they face back. Let's do that a couple more times. Creases face forward, then they face back. One more time, and then they face back. And again, just let yourself be in a kind of neutral position. Notice where you naturally go, where your elbows and your shoulders just want to settle. Now from here, we'll come back into child's pose for a moment. So bring your big toes to touch, separate your knees out wide, and begin to shift your hips back towards your heels. Come into your child's pose, releasing your forehead to a block or to a mat. You can re-extend your arms out, releasing your forearms to the mat. If your hips don't quite come back to your heels, you can always place a block in between. Or if you have a blanket, you can place that in between as well. And if neither of those options work for you, you can just come onto your back and hug your knees into your chest as well. Just make this your child's pose. Just want to give you an opportunity to check in with yourself here. Know that child's pose is always an option in practice if you just need a little break, need to reconnect with your breath, reground yourself. Just know this is always an option. This pose should stay away from any pain, as any pose should. It should be nice and restorative, allowing to recollect yourself here. Now let's stay for one more breath. Okay, we're going to add our arms here. So keep your forehead down and clasp your hands together. So your arms are still extended straight out. Your elbows are down, but now you're clasping your fingers together. Pinkies down, thumbs up. Now once you have that, start to bend your elbows so that your crossed fingers, your crossed hands come over your head. So they're up in the air. Maybe you can go a little bit further so that the thumbs rest on the back of your neck. The last option here, if you'd like, you can begin to walk your elbows a little bit further. That starts to open the chest, the sides of the ribs a little bit more. And if crossing your fingers here just doesn't work, you can just place your palms together in prayer. Maybe you walk those elbows out a little bit longer, creating more length in the back of your body. Stay here for 2 deep breaths. Really sink into this pose here. One more breath. And gently release. So release your arms straight again. Release the clasp of your fingers if you have them. Separate your arms and your palms shoulder width distance. Begin to lift your hips up. Lift your forehead up. If you're on your back, just come back into tabletop pose. Wrists under shoulders. We'll just work out the wrists a little bit. So in our traditional tabletop, our wrists are lined up with the short edge of our mat. Our fingers are nice and spread. We're going to make fists. So begin by making a right fist with your right hand and bring your fingers down with your thumb facing forward. So the top of your palm faces away, your fingers face in. And then do that same thing with your left hand. Make a fist, release your fingers down, fingers are facing in, with the top of the hand facing away. And then go back to your tabletop with your right arm and then your left arm. So we're going to switch. just moving at the pace that works for you, switching back from palm down to fist down. You can move as slowly or as fast as you'd like. And now you have the option, move one at a time, or if you want to challenge yourself, do both at a time. Press yourself up a little bit. Maybe you can do both, or maybe you're just doing one at a time. Just giving the opportunity to stretch out the wrists. And if you like doing tabletop with your fists, that's another option that can always work for you if you're giving your wrist a little bit of a break. Okay, just finish that and stay back on your wrist in our traditional tabletop. Hugging the navel in and up, slight tuck of the chin, gazes up towards the top of the mat. Now shift a little weight into that left arm and extend the right arm out to the side. Right palm faces down. Let's add our internal and external rotation here. So internally rotate, thumb comes down. Maybe the palm faces up towards the ceiling. Releasing back to neutral. And then externally rotate, thumb comes up, pinky down, palm faces forward. Releasing back to neutral one more time. Internally rotate. Gently release back to neutral. And then externally rotate. Thumb comes up, pinky down, palm forward. Gently release that right hand back down. Let's switch to the other side. So extend the left arm out, shoulder height. Begin by internally rotating. Thumb comes down, palm faces up. And then release back down to neutral. Externally rotate. Thumb comes up, pinky down, palm forward. Releasing back to neutral one more time each side. Internally rotate. Thumb down, pinky up. Maybe the palm faces up. Release back down to neutral. And then externally rotate that entire arm. Thumb up, pinky down, palm forward. Gently release back down to neutral, releasing back into your tabletop. Okay, re-extend that right arm out to the side. We're adding a little twist here. So we're going to twist from the navel up and raise that right arm up to the sky. So fingertips up to the sky. As you exhale, you'll release the right arm underneath, right palm faces up, and gently lower that right shoulder to the mat. Might feel a little weird at first, so just begin to settle in. So your right shoulder releases, and then the right side of your head releases to the mat as well. Right arm is extended underneath and pops out the left side of your body with that right palm facing up. And then if you'd like, you can extend this left arm straight out. Maybe it gives you a little more stability that way. Just beginning to gently adding a little bit of pressure to open up that right shoulder. We're here for 2 breaths, so take it nice and deep. One more breath here. And gently walk your left hand back in if you've extended it out. Press up off that left hand, release, and lift that right arm up to the sky. Release that right arm back down into tabletop. Get your bearings, recenter, and we'll switch to the other side. So extend that left arm straight out. Inhale as you raise that left arm up to the sky, twist and look up at those fingertips. And then exhale, release. Send that left arm underneath, left palm up. Gently release that left shoulder to the mat. Release the left side of your head to the mat. So the left hand shoots through, left palm faces up. You can keep your right arm here, or if you want to walk it out, just straighten your arm. You can do that as well. Again, we'll be here for just a couple breaths, so take it nice and slow. Really deep and easy breathing here. Beginning to open up that left shoulder. One more nice deep breath. And gently exhale as you walk that right hand back in underneath your shoulder. Press up off that right hand. Lift that left arm back up to the sky one last time. And exhale, release back down into your tabletop. All right, from our tabletop, we'll curl our toes under. Lift your knees up off the mat. Lift your hips up and back. We'll come into our first downward facing dog here. In your down dog, begin to pedal out your legs. You can lift one heel, lift the other, take your dog for a walk. And if down dog is just too much for you today, you can always release back down into tabletop, and you can walk your dog out that way as well. So wherever you are, just take a couple more deep breaths, walking your dog out. Coming back to stillness wherever you are. Let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, gently walk or step to the top of your mat. Bring your feet hips width distance, heels behind the center toes. You're in your standing forward fold now. Knees can bend as much as you need to. You can gently rest your chest on your thighs if you'd like. Now grab opposite elbows. Let your head and your shoulders hang nice and heavy. Your gaze can be back in between both legs. You're still gently pressing down through the feet to keep yourself nice and stable here. And if you'd like, you can gently rock from side to side, bending one knee a little more than the other. You can either rock or stay in your stillness. Now let's switch the clasps of your elbows. Keep rocking from side to side. And now everyone come back to stillness. Release your hands down. Press your feet into the mat. Spin the inner thighs in and back. And we'll gently roll up to standing, but take your time. Start to roll up one vertebrae at a time, starting with your low back. Your head and your arms are the last thing to arrive. All right, once we come up to standing, let's roll those shoulders up and back a couple times. Just roll them out. And then come back to stillness, opposite way. Let's roll them back and forward. All right, coming to our Urdhva Hastasana, make sure your feet are nice and parallel, hips width distance, heels behind the center toes. Start with your arms down to the sides, palms face forward. Try to draw the tailbone down towards your heels to reduce the kind of natural way that we kind of stick our butt out sometimes. So we're drawing that tailbone down. As we do that, lift these frontal hip points up to the front bottom ribs. You can soften your shoulders away from the ears. Chin is parallel with the mat. Gaze is forward. Take an inhale and exhale. Now we'll inhale as we lift the arms up overhead. Palms face each other. Keep them overhead. You can bring some awareness back to the shoulders. Did they rise up with your arms? Can you soften them down, but still keep your arms straight overhead? Now bring your palms together. I know you can't quite see me, but you can bring your palms together. We're not clasping our fingers, but our palms are together. If your arms don't quite go over your head, you can keep them in front. Press down through your feet. We'll add a side lean. So by pressing down, inhale, create some length, soften your shoulders, and exhale, we'll lean over the right to start. So gently start to lean right. Really press down into that left heel. Try to elongate on both sides, not just the left, but on the right. So we're not crunching into those right ribs. Keep the ears equally in between both arms, both biceps. Keep softening that tailbone down towards your heels. Stay for one more breath. Let's inhale back up to center. Stay with your arms overhead. Press down through your feet. Inhale as you lengthen. And exhale, we'll side lean over to the left. So we're trying to keep our pelvis and our shoulders squared forward. So we're not turning here. We're leaning over that left side, but we're not crunching. So we're lengthening through both sides. Pressing down through that right foot and extending out through both fingertips. Keeping both ears in between the biceps equally. Staying for one more breath. And then inhale back up to center. Release the hands back down through center and down to the side. You can shake them out a little bit. All right, come to the top of the mat if you're not there already. Feet or hips width distance, heels behind the center toes. Let's wake up the rest of the body here. Release the arms down to your sides. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Okay, let's inhale the arms up overhead. Stay for a breath. And exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Knees can bend. Let's inhale, halfway lift. Place your hands to the shins, extend and straighten your back halfway. And then re-bend as you exhale, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, come back up to standing, arms out and up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Let's repeat that one more time. Inhale, arms up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to the shins, nice flat back, parallel to the ground. And exhale, rebend, forward fold. Press your feet into the mat. Inhale, arms out and up, overhead, back up to standing. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Take a moment, take a nice deep breath, and we'll add on to that sequence. So let's inhale the arms up overhead, palms face each other. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Now release both palms to the mat, shoulder width distance. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Keep your left foot forward, extend and straighten that right leg back behind you. Release that right knee to the mat. Press down through the left foot. Inhale as you raise the arms forward and up. Arms are next, those biceps are next to your ears, overhead. Gently pressing down through that left heel. Spin those pinkies towards each other. The palms face each other. Soften those shoulders away from the ears, but extend and lengthen through all sides of the torso. Stay for one more breath here. And exhale, release forward. Arms come down. Curl the right toes under. Lift that right knee back up. Step it up to meet the left. We'll switch to the other side. So keep the right foot forward. Extend that left leg back. Release the left heel down. Press down through that right heel. And inhale, lift the arms forward and up overhead, Anjaneyasana. Get your balance. Wrap those pinky side edges towards each other. Start external rotation of our arms here. We're softly drawing that tailbone down, lifting up both sides of the torso. Staying for one more breath here. And exhale, release both arms down. Curl those left toes under, lift that left knee up, step that left foot up to the top of the mat, and stay in your forward fold here. In your forward fold, your knees can bend as much as you need to. We're going to add our arms and open up the shoulders a little bit more. So wrap the arms behind you and clasp the fingers together. Once the fingers are clasped up to the webbing, bring the wrists together so the wrists touch. Once you have that, you have a couple options here. You can stay just like this, or you can begin to extend and straighten the arms, kind of down your back or away from your back. And then the last option here, if you'd like, you can begin to raise those arms up off your shoulders. So we're going to clasp the fingers, bring the wrists together, straighten the arms, and then lift the arms up off your back. Wherever you are, try to roll the shoulders up and back to draw the shoulders down your back. Create some length in that neck there. Slight tuck of the chin. Stay for one more breath. Exhale, release the clasp of your fingers. Let your arms fall down. We're staying in our forward fold. We'll repeat that, but this time opposite finger on top. So arms come behind you. Again, clasp your fingers together, but do the opposite way. So basically the way that feels more challenging or more feels a little abnormal here, least habitual. So again, fingers clasped, then bring the wrists together, then straighten the arms, and then maybe lift the arms off your back. You're still pressing down through the feet, letting your chin slightly tuck. Draw the shoulders down your back and roll the shoulders up and back. Stay for one more breath here. And exhale, gently release the fingers down. Press into the feet. Inhale, lift up halfway, so hands to the shins, nice flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Press down. We'll inhale, come back up to standing, nice and slow, arms out, overhead, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through the center and down to the sides. Just take a couple deep breaths here. Refocus, recenter. One more deep breath. Now, stay at the top of your mat, but bring your big toes to touch and your heels slightly separated. We'll come into our chair pose. So in order to do that, we'll start by bending the knees, keeping the knees together, and sending the hips back. Then we release the arms forward, palms face each other. Again, we're wrapping those pinky side edges towards each other. Make sure you can gaze down and see the toes. If you can't, shift your hips back slightly. Maybe you can raise those toes off the mat, shifting a little more weight into the heels. Keep a nice long neutral spine, so avoid arching or rounding. Stay for one more breath. And exhale, release down into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hand to the shins, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. This time, place both palms to the mat, shoulder width distance, and we'll step both feet back. So you can step the right foot back, step the left foot back. We're in our plank pose here. You can always drop to your knees. We're holding our plank for a couple seconds here. Try to, again, wrap those elbow creases forward. See if you can do that. That kind of activates the external rotation. You're gently pressing down through the base of each finger and each palm. And even if your knees are down, your shoulders are over your wrists. We're here for one more breath. Now, everyone drop to your knees. Again, try to wrap those elbow creases forward slightly. Now we'll shift the torso forward. With the elbow creases forward, we'll bend the elbows back and lower the entire torso all the way to the ground all at once. Uncurl those back toes. So the tops of the toes are to the mat. Press the tops of the toes down, press your hips down, elbows back, and on your inhale, lift up into your baby cobra. Chest and upper ribs lift. Keeping those lower ribs down, we're sending our heart forward. Roll the shoulders up and back, stay for one more breath, and exhale, gently release. We'll repeat that, press the feet down. On your inhale, lift your head up, chest up, send the heart forward, toes away from your body. Draw the elbows back, shoulders down your back, releasing that tailbone towards the heels. One more breath here. And exhale, gently release. Now, we'll stay on our bellies here. This is kind of a unique way to get into another shoulder opener here. So, start by extending both arms out to a T shape with the palms down. Now you can rest your forehead to the mat or your chin, or you can turn your head to a side. So make sure both arms start out in a T with your palm facing down. Now, tent up on your right fingertips. So come up on those right fingertips. And with your left arm, with your palm down, keep that out to the side. And what you'll do is start to walk your right fingertips in as you roll over to your left side. So we're coming onto the left side. Our right foot is going to rest on top of our left foot. Now, if you can't quite get onto your side because your left arm is out at shoulder height, you can draw that left arm, keep it straight, but bring it a little bit closer to your body. So if by keeping it straight out into a T is a little too much, you can bring it a little closer to your body. Now rest the side of your head on the mat, just like we had before in our other shoulder opener. And you can begin to walk those right fingertips in a little bit closer if you'd like. Make this stretch yours. You should really feel this like opening up the pectoral muscles and really opening that left shoulder. So just go to your capacity here. We're staying just for a couple breaths. Really deepen your breathing and breathe into that shoulder. Create some space. One more breath here. And now we'll gently release. Take your time. Walk that right hand back out. Come back down to your belly where we started. Right arm, left arm out to the side, both in a T shape. And we'll switch and go to the opposite side. So now tent up on those left fingertips. Begin to roll over on the right side of your body, releasing the right side of your head to the mat. And again, if you need to bring that arm a little bit closer, it might be a little more open or a little bit more tight on one side versus the other. We're not always completely balanced here, so just do what makes sense on both sides. So with tenting up on those left fingertips, once you're on your side, you can begin to walk your left fingertips closer to your body. We're staying here for some nice deep breaths. Make it yours. Just try to keep the palm down wherever you are. Draw the arm in a little bit closer if you need to. Just really feel this stretch and breathe into that area. Let's take one more nice deep breath. And exhale as you gently walk that left hand back out. Come back down to your belly. We'll stay on our belly, but we'll bring our arms in front of us and grab opposite elbows just like we were in our forward fold in our ragdoll. And then release your forehead to your hands. So you're making a little bit of a pillow here. Now from here, bend that right knee and flex that right foot so it's up towards the sky. Now press your hips down into the mat. And on your inhale, try to lift the bottom of that right foot up to the sky. So you're lifting that right thigh up to the sky. Keeping the knee bent, foot is flexed. Keep gently pressing up. Press the hips down as you raise that thigh up. Stay for one more breath. Exhale, gently release the right thigh down. Release the top of the right foot back down to the mat. Let's switch to the other side. So bend the left knee. Flex the left foot so the bottom of it faces up towards the sky. Press the hips down. And on your inhale, try to lift the bottom of the foot up to the sky. Maybe lift up an inch. Maybe it's a millimeter. Maybe stay on the mat. But the idea is to try and press that left thigh up to the sky. Keeping that ankle on top of the knee. Staying for one more breath. Exhale, gently release. Knee down, top of the foot down. And now bend both knees, flex both feet, and windshield wiper from side to side. And just come back to stillness here. Release the tops of your feet down. Place both palms beside your ribs again. Make sure your wrists are directly underneath your elbows. You might need to look back. I've got the camera I can look into so I can see. Now curl the toes under. Press down through your hands and lift up into your tabletop with the toes curled under. Lift the hips up and back into your down dog. Again, if down dog is too much, you can stay in your tabletop. Otherwise, in your down dog, press your chest back towards your thighs. Press the heels down and back. Bring some awareness back to those elbow creases. Can you roll them slightly forward? That's creating an external rotation in the shoulders, which is more ideal. It gives us more space in the shoulders. Let that head hang heavy. Take one more deep breath in your down dog. And exhale. Now inhale, gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale. This time walk the hands back to the feet, nice and slowly. So you're walking your hands back to the edge of your mat. Feet stay hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Press down through your feet. Let's inhale, lift up halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Now bring your big toes to touch in your forward fold. Heels slightly separated, knees touching. We'll come back into our chair pose at the back of our mat. So we'll bend the knees, send the hips back, arms come forward. Now from here, we're staying here for a couple breaths. You have the option now to release your hands back behind you, clasp your fingers together. You can bring the wrists together, straighten the arms, and lift the arms up off your back. You can stay here for a breath, and then release your arms, stay in your chair pose. Reclasp your fingers, opposite finger on top. Bring the wrist together, straighten the arms, maybe lift up off your back. Keep shifting the weight into the heels. One more breath. Exhale, release the arms. Arms come forward, straighten the legs, arms up overhead as you come to standing. Exhale, release the hands down through center and down to the sides. All right, now meet me in a wide-legged stance here. So you'll face the long edge side of your mat. Feet are nice and spread. Make sure you're still stable, looking for about one leg's distance apart. Also, you can extend your arms if you were to drop something underneath your wrists. That's about where your ankles would be. But start with your feet nice and parallel, so the heels are directly behind those center toes. Place your hands at your hips and try to draw that tailbone down towards the ground, just like we would in our mountain in our standing pose. Let's take a nice deep inhale here and exhale. We'll have 2 wide-legged forward folds coming up. So we have the option to advance after this first one. So for now, we're pressing our feet down into the mat. Take an inhale as you lift your chest up to the sky. Add a slight back bend as you look up. And on your exhale, you'll hinge forward, just like in your forward fold. This time we have a wide-legged stance. Come down to about halfway. This is where if you have your blocks, you can place them underneath you and then release your arms down to the ground. So if you're using your blocks, you can place your fingertips or your palms on your blocks. And if you don't need your blocks, just bring your hands down directly underneath your shoulders. If neither of those options work for you, just keep your hands at your hips and stay halfway down. Either way, wherever you are, try to hug the legs in towards each other. Really draw those kneecaps up towards your hips. Really start to engage the calves. And if you'd like to go a little bit further, you can release your head and start to walk your hands back towards your heels. We're just going to your capacity, so it's your practice. If you are moving your arms back, keep them shoulder width distance and bend the elbows as you move farther back. Release that head down. Try to shift the weight a little bit more into the toes, but keep your heels down on the mat. We're staying for 2 more breaths. Again, keep hugging those legs in, pressing down through all sides of the feet. 1 more breath here. And wherever you are, walk your hands back out. Press your feet down into the mat, slight bend in the knees, lift up halfway, hands to the hips. Press the feet down and gently raise back up to center. All right, take a moment here. We have the opportunity for 1 more wide-legged forward fold, and this time we'll clasp our hands behind our back. If you think that's a little bit too much for you, you can just repeat whatever option you just did or modify. Otherwise, we'll do that with our hands clasped behind. So let's go ahead. Wrap our arms behind us. We're clasping our fingers together just like we've been doing. Once the fingers are clasped up to the webbing, bring the bottoms of the wrist to touch. If you can, then start to straighten the arms. And last option, lift the arms up off your back. Wherever you are, roll the shoulders up and back to really open the chest up. Now inhale as you lift the chest to the sky, add a slight back bend, press down through your feet, and as you exhale, slowly start to hinge forward, really hugging those legs in towards each other. That gives you the stability. You can lower to your capacity. If you're coming into just your normal wide-legged forward fold with your hands down, just repeat what we did before. Otherwise, with your hands behind you, let your head hang heavy, slight tuck of the chin. Maybe now you can raise your arms off your back. If not, just keep them on your back, but still reinforce that action. You're really opening up the shoulders here. Staying for 1 more breath. If you're in your normal wide-legged stance, you can stay there. If your arms are clasped, release the clasp of your fingers, stay in your forward fold, arms out to the side, and then arms come back behind you, opposite finger on top. So we're reclasping, just opposite finger on top here. Bring the wrists together, straighten the arms, and maybe lift the arms off the back. And keep shifting the weight into the toes, but keep the heels on the mat. Try to draw those kneecaps up towards the hips. We're staying for 1 more breath. Now exhale, gently release. Wherever you are, arms down, shoulder width distance. Slight bend in the knees, lift up halfway, hands to the hips. Press down through the feet, straighten your legs as you lift back up. All right, just heel toe the feet back into hips width distance, and let's come back down onto the mat. So come down to a seat with your legs straight out in front of you. Now with the legs out in front of us, have a slight bend in the knee to start. We begin by hugging that right knee in towards our chest. We'll release the right knee out to our side, coming into Janu Shirshasana. If you're one that likes to have a block underneath this right knee, you can do that. But either way, try to get that right heel as close to your hips as you can. Again, if you have trouble just standing up straight here, you can roll up your mat, you can sit on a towel, or if you have an extra block, you can use that for a little bit of elevation. Now, if this is enough, you can just stay right here, nice long spine. Otherwise, inhale as you lift your arms overhead, palms face each other. Soften the shoulders away from the ears, lengthen through the spine. And exhale, gently start to forward fold. Send your chest toward your toes. Keep that nice long spine. You can release your arms down. And we're sending the heart towards the toes. Try to avoid rounding to get yourself deeper into the stretch. The closer you can send your chest toward your toes, the better. If you're a little more mobile than me and your chest is already resting on your shin, you can extend your arms out more. But keep this left foot flexed the entire time so the left toes are drawing back towards your body. That really stretches out the calves. Again, you can have your knee bent as much as you'd like here. We'll stay here for 2 more deep breaths. Just 1 more deep breath here. Now begin to walk your hands back up, lift your chest up, and we'll switch to the other side. So re-extend that right leg forward. Bend the left knee this time. Release that left knee out to the side. Try to draw that left heel in a little bit closer. If you're using your block, you can place it on the other side. Again, this right knee can bend as much as you'd like, but flex those right toes. So if this is enough, just stay right here, nice long spine. Otherwise, inhale as you raise the arms up overhead, pinkies towards each other, soften the shoulders down. And exhale as you hinge forward at your hip crease. Release the arms down, send the chest towards the toes. Keep flexing that right foot. Get a nice long spine, so try to avoid rounding and reaching here. Just trust that your body is letting you be as flexible that it needs to today. Stay for 2 more nice deep breaths. Last breath here. And on your inhale, begin to gently walk your hands, lift your torso back up straight. Let's release the block off to the side if you were using that. Bring your knee back in, extend both legs straight. Let's bend the knees, shift the hips forward. Now we'll roll onto our back. I like giving people different options here to roll onto your back. So you can either hold on to the backs of your thighs, the tops of your shins, or if you want to really challenge yourself, arms come forward. Just start to gently roll down. Try to engage your core and roll down as slowly as you can. Really challenge yourself, taking your time. Once you release onto your back, it may have been more or less graceful than you thought it would be. You can walk your feet back in. Heels come closer to the hips, ankles are directly underneath the knees. So the feet and the knees are hips width distance. Come into our bridge pose. So release the arms down to the sides. Press the feet into the mat. And on your inhale, lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up to the sky. Really engage the quadriceps here. Spin the inner thighs in and down to keep those knees hips width distance. They always want to come out wide. Really open up the shoulders. Send the chin away from the chest and the chest towards the chin. Stay for 1 more breath here. Lift a little bit higher. And exhale, gently release from the top of the spine, middle, and then low back last to arrive. We'll have the opportunity to repeat that, but this time we'll clasp our fingers underneath ourselves. So if you want to just repeat your bridge pose, you can do that. Otherwise, I'll cue with the arms underneath. So again, start with our feet hips width distance, heels underneath the knees, knees hips width distance as well. Arms down to the sides to start. Press your feet into the mat, and on your inhale, lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up. Now you can stay here, or if you're coming with me, begin to roll your shoulders underneath so that you're now on your triceps. Your palms are starting to face each other. You can stay here, or if you'd like, Clasp your fingers underneath your hips. Bring your wrists together. Straighten your arms, and then maybe you release those pinky side edges of your hands down towards the mat. Wherever you are, again, spin those inner thighs in and down. Lift the chest up towards the sky. Stay for one more breath. Maybe lift a little bit higher. And exhale, release the arms out from underneath you. Roll down from the top of your spine. Low back is the last to arrive. Now separate your feet out to the width of the mat. Let your knees fall into touch. Stay here for a moment. Really good way to release that low back. We'll add a little bit of movement, so let your knees rock from side to side. Keep your feet wide, but you'll let your knees fall off from one side, and then they fall to the other. Just move very slowly here. Now the next time your knees fall off to the right side, keep them there. We'll add a little bit of a spinal twist here. So extend both arms out, this time palms up, shoulder height. You can stay here. If you want to add the outside of that right ankle on top of that left knee, you can do that. Just deepens the stretch a little bit here. Either way, try to keep your left shoulder rooted, and you can turn your neck to look over those left fingertips. Just stay for a couple breaths here. One more breath. And exhale, turn your head back up to the ceiling. Release that ankle on top of the knee if you have it. Bring both knees back up to center. And exhale as you release them off to the left side this time. So your feet are still wide, releasing your knees down to the left. You have the option to place the outside of that left ankle on top of the right knee. Just adds a little bit more of a stretch in that right thigh. Keeping your arms wide to a T shape, palms face up. You can turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. Stay for 2 deep breaths here. Now release that ankle from on top of the knee, turn to face back up towards the ceiling. Lift those knees back up. Walk your feet back into hips with distance. Separate your knees and draw those knees back into your chest one last time. Give a nice little squeeze here. Lift the back of your head and your shoulders off your mat. Come into a nice egg shape. Give yourself a nice squeeze here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And exhale. Extend the legs straight out. Extend the arms overhead. Point the toes away from the body. Extend the fingertips away. Give one last full body stretch here. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And exhale, gently release. Send your arms down to the sides, palms face up. Let your knees and your feet fall off to the side. We'll settle into our Shavasana pose, the final pose of our practice today. Just use this as a time to release any last little bit of tension you may have in your body, and release any control you have over your breath. Just be. Your eyes can begin to soften or your gaze can close completely. Just let your body be heavy, melting into the mat underneath you. And just begin to bring some awareness back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. Switch directions in those rotations. And come back to stillness for one last breath here on your back. Now begin to gently bend your knees as you roll over to one side of your body. Let your top arm rest on your bottom, and your top knee rest on your bottom as you roll onto your side. Just stay here for one breath. And keep your eyes softened or your gaze closed as you use your top arm to press yourself up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position to complete your practice today. As you come into your comfortable seat, you can place your palms on top of your knees. Palms can face up, or bring your hands into the center of your chest. So I'll take a nice deep inhale in together. Through the mouth, exhale. Thank you all for joining me for practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. All right. Thank you all so much for practice. Really appreciate you joining me on this Monday evening. Sometimes it's tough getting your week started and getting into a mindful or an exercise routine. So give yourself props for getting out here and taking class today. Oh, Ellen, thank you for checking in. I'm glad this worked out well for you. Yeah, my shoulders are really where I hold my stress. And so this is really personal for me, this practice. This really helps me open up and reduce that stress where I contain a lot of just heavy stuff there. So I really like this kind of practice where we do focus a little more on our shoulders and our chest here. So again, thank you so much for class. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the chat. Leave little comments. I really appreciate the feedback for checking in before and after class. As well as, oh, Nicole, thank you for checking in. Yes, I'm glad Coney got to check in for a little bit. I'm not sure where Oliver is. He's probably sleeping somewhere. But yeah, thank you all so much. If you'd like to donate, that donation link is in the video description if you'd like to help out racial or social justice causes. So again, we're working on shoulders and chest this week. My next practice on YouTube will be Wednesday at 7 p.m. That will be level one, so we'll ramp it up a little bit, build off of what we did today. And I'm also teaching tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern through Free Baltimore Yoga. I teach there once or twice a month. So if you'd like to, it'll be a very similar practice to what we did today. So otherwise, I hope you enjoy your week. Take however you feel today into the rest of your week. And I will see you next time in practice. Again, my name is Daniel. Thank you so much. Peace.